the misconception that the environment is just the natural environment, the trees, the mountains. But right now, we are in an environment. I'm standing in my environment, which is my physical body. And unfortunately, as you pointed out, a lot has changed over the years. We are exposed every single day to a lot of potentially harmful and harmful chemicals. And I see babies, bellies walking around. I'm a postpartum doula as well. And what's happening currently today is the fact that we are not only affected by these chemicals, but the babies within our womb are affected. And so the EWG and Red Cross did a study and found over 200 synthetic toxic chemicals in the umbilical cord blood of babies. For me, that is alarming. And it's really about starting to create change, and that's what I love about being a part of Beautycounter in this movement, is that we're not just talking, we are walking the talk. And we are impassioned with educating people, being mission-based first, and bringing the information to all communities. I came on board in November. I went to the same boarding school as our founder, Greg went through. She's 6 years ahead of me, but we did not know each other. And we met when she hosted an alumna event last March. I went away, came back, met up with her in September, and she asked me to join this mission. And it spoke volumes because she basically brought to me what my passion is, and it's really educating people. And so when you look at women of color, the reason why women of color carry the highest chemical toxic load is very complex. There's not one direct thing that creates that. Just like in terms of a lot of the chronic illnesses and disorders that exist today, there's no direct cause and effect, right? We just know and see, and the science is telling us that something is happening. So when you look at chemical toxic load, it's a conglomeration of different things. Genes, geography, diet, various things. But what we do also know is that some of the most toxic and potentially harmful products on the market are marketed to women of color. Me being a woman of color, that is not okay. And what I recognize is that in order to increase is first, increasing the education, starting to really start to shift and change things. Because the question is, where do we go from here? We see the information, but I don't believe in the victim mentality. My thing is that we can always do something about it. So how do we begin to take step towards lessening the toxic load, not just for women of color, not just for women, but for everyone, for our children, for our men, our families, everyone. And before I give you pointers, I'm just going to give you a little bit of information and come and speak to me afterwards if you have any questions. Where do we see this in terms of women of color? What are we exposed to? So when you look at fibroids, the incidence and severity for fibroids itself is 2 to 3 times greater for Black African American women. And so when I say African American women, I am Jamaican. So I use the terminology Black to include everyone from the diaspora. So not only those who are African American, but those who are Caribbean, those who are from Africa. So that stat is speaking to African American in particular. When you look at early onset of puberty, African American and Latinas have greater rates of onset of puberty. And both things have been linked to chemical exposure. So that's just a few stats, and I have a lot more, so feel free to come up to me afterwards to ask questions. So when we look at moving forward, so how do we create change? When there was a study that was recently posted on the EWG Environmental Working Group, where a study was done with teen girls, where they took out harmful personal care products and replaced them with products that were free of certain chemicals. And just in 3 days, the chemical load decreased dramatically. So what does that tell us? That it's possible to create change through minor changes. And that is what we are trying to do as a company. In terms of Beautycounter itself, for those who are not familiar, we have a never list. There's a white card that's sitting around. Walk away with it today. put it inside your purse, your pocketbook, and check your ingredients of your products up against that. Also, go to our website. We have an expanded list, and start to educate yourself first. So how do you become a part of this movement that is so necessary? First and foremost, start with you first. Really start to question, start to change things within your household, bring the information to others. Now, as we know, the money, your dollar, creates demand. One way of becoming involved with us is purchasing, because it sends a message to the government that it is not okay the way things exist and it is time for change. Second way is to support a consultant by hosting. Third way is becoming a member. If you fall in love with our product for just $25 a year, you're able to get certain rewards, as well as free shipping, a range of stuff, and as well as being able to participate in certain educational opportunities with our trusted nonprofits. And then the most, for me, powerful way to become involved with Beautycounter is first, can I see a round of hands with our consultants in the room? And I'm just going to give you an applause, because it's through our consultants that we are able to reach outward within the United States and affect and change lives. So for me, that's the most crucial way of becoming a part of this mission. We have products. Some of you have already looked at the product out there. Sample it. Don't go cold turkey. Take a look at it. Afterwards, we're going to shift back to more of a cocktail style. Both Laurel and I are available. Ask questions. My email is athena@beautycounter.com. I am extremely responsive. I get back to you right away. Reach out to me, and for anything, even outside of the opportunity. Okay, so that is it. Laurel, can I turn it back over to you?
I just want